Hi, I'm Andy Borkowski here for Video Game Sophistry. We're right outside Xbox Canada for X Series, a showcase of all the great Xbox games that Canada has to offer. Let's go inside and enjoy. Hi, I'm Andy Borkowski for Video Game Sophistry, and today we're talking about, I would say, one of the most anticipated games of the year, Assassin's Creed 3. Now, who are we talking to today?
Hi, my name is Philippe Duchame. I'm Associate Producer on Assassin's Creed 3.
For anyone who's not familiar with this very, very iconic game, what can you tell us about it, the third iteration?
So Assassin's Creed 3 is about the American Revolution. Our main protagonist is called Connor, or Ratnageden, which is his Mohawk name. He's half Native American, half Mohawk. He's basically going to push the story forward between Assassins and Templar.
Yeah.
So your main enemy is always the Templar in Assassin's Creed 3, in the Assassin's Creed franchise, and that's what we're going to be experiencing for Assassin's Creed 3.
You've, for the very first time in a few games now, you've completely rebooted where the setting is, who the characters are, everything like that. Why make that choice now with the third iteration as opposed to maybe some of the previous games?
Well, the iterations are always, all the major iterations are, we change a character. That's always
very much, yeah.
So Assassin's Creed 1 had Altair as a main character, Assassin's Creed 2 had Ezio, and then there was a Brotherhood and Revelations which kept pushing the story forward for Ezio. For the third, we wanted to move to a different setting. We wanted to find something that was refreshing, and that gave us more possibilities. So the core team, after Assassin's Creed 2 ended, started working on Assassin's Creed 3. And we made some new innovations to all of our core pillars, navigation, combat, or social stealth. So we've revamped completely from ground up their navigation system to allow tree running, a more fluid type of movement. And it's actually something that was... Like in video games, you always see trees, you always see forests, but they're always decorative environments. It's not.
You never see very high up. You see the trunks and maybe a little bit higher.
Exactly, and you can't really interact with it. And like something that we say on the team is always like one of the only things that we're able to climb when we're young kids
is a tree.
Is actually a tree. And in a game, you never climb trees. So for Assassin's Creed 3, that's what we wanted. We want to have this native character it's his homeland, it's where he grew up, be able to climb the trees and be able to navigate quite easily in the trees as Ezio and Altair were able to do in cities. And obviously, him being an assassin, he's able to do that as well, and he can move around any of the cities such as Boston or New York that we have within the game.
One of the big things in the first few games was the jumping on the rooftops of these ancient sort of cities now. Because you're making a big change in art direction as well, what have you done to ensure there's still fluidity for the player, but that it's working with the treetops, working with, the more industrialized Boston and countries like that?
Well, for Boston, what we wanted is really, obviously, like it's a city that's still alive today. It's still really like there's key landmarks with it. There's key locations, and we really wanted to represent the people in Boston that live there. They can look up and see, hey, that's a landmark that we know, that we recognize. And obviously, the streets are more of on a grid in a certain way, than compared to the Italian cities of the Renaissance, which were kind of some sort of maze. If you've ever been to Venice, it's really a maze city. So we actually wanted to really create these free running zones. So we use trees, we use anything that helps us to reach from one zone to another, and still have this kind of colonial feeling to it. Like a city like New York had a really colonial district. It had a burnt district back then. There was a Great Fire of New York just before the Revolution that trashed a third of the city, really. So we have the colonial, the Dutch district, and the city, the site of the whole district in New York that passed on fire, that burned during the Great Fire. In Boston, we have the docks location, the harbors, the more downtown where it was a little bit more crowded. So, and obviously, like countrysides, there's a lot of countrysides back then. There was a lot of farmlands. So we needed to make level design. To have proper level designs to fit in all of these locations and be able to use all the navigation moves, the cool navigation moves that Connor has. So, like I said, we revamped our system to make sure that he's able to climb any surfaces, to move and free run freely across all of these surfaces, and we can support that for AC3.
Excellent. The time period that you've chosen for this game is one of the most tumultuous, and I'd say interesting, of perhaps even world history. How is Connor really pushing into the narrative that we know of the particular Revolutionary War, and how does he maybe change it in a way that would be surprising and interesting to the player? As much as you can say, because obviously we don't want to.
Obviously,
don't want to spoil it.
There's no spoilers that's going to be said today. My PR guys die for that. Exactly.
Right there.
Right, Jay. So basically the story, Connor is really, he's someone that sees black or white.
Yeah.
He sees good in people. He believes there's good in every people, but like don't cross him. It's really his mentality. And obviously he's Native American. He was born and raised in his village, and back then, the natives were kind of used from both sides, both the British and the American try to have them on their side by promising them land, promising them freedom, which obviously was either denied afterwards or changed. So for him, it was really about his people and making sure that people had the right to be free. So that's something that's really important, the freedom of choice. And it's also a value for all the assassins that was always there for Assassin's Creed. So the assassins fight for freedom versus the Templar try to control. So that's actually one of the key themes of the game, where the British were trying to control the Patriots by imposing tax, by trying to saying no, you won't have. They tried to quell the rebellion by force.
And this is all influenced, of course, on the historical merits of what happened at the time.
Exactly. The historical battles were really. People say, the historians say that it's actually a civil war fought on foreign soil.
Yeah.
Because basically the British were killing British people, and it's just that they try to change the tone of history. They said, no, we won't stand for this again. We won't pay the tax. We won't do it. We're gonna basically revolt, and they made a rebellion, and the rebellion led to the American Revolution. And also, like, there's a lot, like you said, there's a lot of warfare that it impacts the whole world. Like the French actually got involved, the Dutch. There was German soldiers that were fighting for the for the British. The French brought in their naval fleet to help at the end of the American Revolution. So all of these key events, our main character will live through these events and will have a key role. And basically, he's helping people reach freedom.
That's something I love in all of the previous Assassin's Creeds, of when you'd just be simply running through the town and you get a small little post come up saying, oh, look at the history of this, and it would be such an interesting examination of a building or a person in history, and you learn, amazingly, things that you then would take your own fruition to find out more. Will that happen in Assassin's Creed? Are you really pushing for that for the third iteration?
For sure we are. You are, the ADB, Animus Database System, is back. With a lot more content, and it's always had this kind of humoristic tone.
Yeah, it's always history, but from the perspective of maybe curtailed slightly differently, little differences.
And our writing team actually made a great job again with this. So you have key locations, key events, historical characters that are all present within the ADB. And what's actually really interesting for Assassin's Creed 3 is this war was the first one that was really, really well documented. Like, we know on a daily basis where Benjamin Franklin was during those periods. Like, he wrote letters, he was stating every day what he was doing. George Washington, we know where he was during which month. So we have all these documents, and we incorporate it within the game. It's obviously part of our mission, part of our game design. Yes, it's all present.
Excellent. In terms of the favorite characters we had in our previous games, the actors especially, like Stephen Merchant coming in, is he going to be available for the third one? And are we going to have similar voices, or is it a completely new system of people who are running the Animus and the database behind there?
So obviously all the characters that made present day are back for Assassin's Creed.
Excellent.
However, all the characters within the period,
of course,
Connor, the character that makes Connor, Noah Watts is obviously a new character. Same thing for all the historical characters such as George Washington, Samuel Adams, Paul Revere. We have a completely new set of casting done. It was done over almost a year and a half of casting to find the right actors, to find the right people to do the right job, and to have the right performance that we wanted for everyone.
In terms of multiplayer, the first Assassin's Creeds hit it out of the park with a new and innovative way to bring multiplayer to players. What have you done to improve that method but not alienate people who love the idea of sitting on a bench for 5 minutes and then killing someone just like that? What have you done to really revolutionize it for the third one?
So we actually added a system where it's part of it's a co-op mode where you actually fight with your people and you're trying to get simultaneous kill, and it's basically just coordinating with your teammates instead of fighting against someone. So it's a different twist on the same type of game. It's fast-paced. You have a timer that counts down, and you try to get your kills properly lined up, and you have your targets that pops up in your window.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, I have my target in sight, and if you start running towards him, obviously he's going to run away.
Yeah, he's gonna
so
see
it's
it.
more strategy, and it's not against opponents. But obviously the same modes are back. Deathmatch is there as well. So there's a lot of cool innovations as well in multiplayer for Assassin's Creed 3.
Cannot wait for the game. What is, you don't mind me asking, your favorite moment so far that you can tell us playing Assassin's Creed 3?
If I can tell you.
If you can. Well, sometimes people say, oh, we can't release that information yet. It's too good.
You'll see a lot of naval battle for
Yeah.
key moments. The American Revolution, there was some key battles that were fought at sea.
Yeah.
And these moments, like the naval battles, is not just something that we've kind of made on the rail ride on the side. It's really a full system that was developed for the game, and those battles are really key historical moments that you take part of, and they feel epic, and they are epic.
Not something you really see in a game as well, to have control of the ship in this sort of way. Not, at least that I can remember. Of having
I
that.
don't recall any games that actually had this as part of a key moments for the game.
Absolutely. Well, thank you so much. When can we expect to play fantastic game Assassin's Creed 3?
You'll be able to play it on October 30th.
October 30th. Not too
really
far
soon.
away. Thank you so much for taking the time. I
My
appreciate
pleasure.
it. Andy Borkowski for Video Game Sophistry.